It's a long way to the top of the Burj Coburg Tower. Hello everyone, new simulator. And a new flight around Australia as well. Unfortunately we can't get on Vatsim yet. Mostly because as soon as you connect to Vatsim on this simulator, I go down to about 8 frames a second. But we'll fly the first couple of legs offline until they get that sorted, and then pick it up once Vatsim is a believable option. Let's put it that way. We have no avatar man, but we do have this kind of move the camera around thing. So there's that. This is completely default. Nothing in here is anything except straight up the new Microsoft Flight Simulator. Unfortunately you can't open the doors, you can't do a walk around, but you can kind of move that camera around, so we'll jump into the cockpit. And Patrick's still waiting for the download to finish. Funny. Yes, it's not exactly the smallest program in the world. Anyhow, this is the Cessna 172, not the G1000 version. I don't have a new PC, I have the same PC that we were using in the previous videos. So the very last video that you saw, I've got a i7 9800 with a RTX 2070, and I still have all that set up. No difference. I'm wondering why that guy has decided to stand in front of our Cessna. We may need to travel through them. Maybe around that side. I'm going to have a listen to the AWIS to see what's happening at Essendon.
Automated Weather Information Service, Essendon Airport. Time 0759 Zulu. Wind 300 degrees magnetic at 7 knots. Visibility 25 kilometers. Present weather. No significant weather. Clouds scattered 3,300 feet. Broken 5,400 feet. Overcast 6,700 feet. Temperature 7. Dew point 5. QNH 1001 hectopascals. Rainfall last 10 minutes nil. Automated Weather Information Service, Essendon Airport. Time 0759 Zulu. Wind 300 degrees magnetic at 7 knots. Visibility 25 kilometers. Present weather. No significant weather. Clouds scattered 3,300 feet. Broken 5,400 feet.
Cool. I'm happy with that weather. 3,300 feet. We can get up relatively high. Got my mute button. So, I think what we'll do with this flight is coming out of Essendon, we'll fly around our newfound Coburg Tower, the super tower right in front of us there. That's a fault in the terrain. Struck a about 2,000 foot tall mega structure, skyscraper, in the outer north suburb of, I'm guessing it's really Fawkner, just north of North Coburg, right next to the Fawkner cemetery, actually. So I'll do a lap of the cemetery and the new the new tower. We'll head down to Melbourne itself, probably fly over the Melbourne cricket ground, which is a bit strange looking in the new sim by default. After that, we'll track up the Yarra River, straight up to the Sugarloaf Reservoir, and pop into Lilydale. I'm using the most expensive version, the Premium Deluxe. The main reason I got Premium Deluxe is for this particular aircraft. I want to fly a Cessna 172 that looks, you know, like this. Not one with the full G1000. They're boring to fly. Anyway, once we get to Lilydale, we'll head on down past the Cardina Reservoir to finish the night off in Taiab. We might even head down a little bit further south to have a look at Sandy Point and Stony Point, which is the bottom end of a particular railway line that passes Frankston. So, might even fly over French Island and Phillip Island and come back up to Taiab. That's an option. I'll see how we go for time. Anyhow, with that dude up there wandering around, we'll prepare the aircraft for departure. We'll assume that we've done a fuel. So the amount of fuel that we have on board today is 35 gallon. We burn about 10 gallon an hour on average at 1,500 feet. So a minimum fuel with a lot of reserve, enough to come back to Essendon from Taiab, would be 26 gallon of fuel. We'll arrive in Taiab with 29. We've got 34 minutes of flying time, although we are going to do some circles around the city. Anyhow, down here I've got a honeycomb yoke, and simply plugging it in gives me a bunch of key presses that associate directly with the sim. Probably the most important one is the keystroke for the for that. So the magnetos can be controlled via the key on the honeycomb yoke. Just make sure you don't sit it into start, because that'll run the starter motor forever. Well, at least for 3 minutes until it runs out of battery power. At which point, all the electronics will shut down. That's right, the chimney stack up there at... it's not even a chimney stack, it looks like one, but it's actually not far from St. Mark's Parish Primary School in Faulkner. It's on the same street as the primary school, which is pretty hilarious. Anyhow, let's get the battery going. Mixture is rich. Just cracked open the power a little bit. Double check that our thing is closed. It is. Let's pop some lights on. That's the strobe. We'll stuck in those two. Fuel pump. Getting positive air. Cool. Make sure that's on the in. Because I didn't see that pop up. No, fuel flow's off. Let's see if this will start our engine. Yeah. Hello, South Pack. Haven't seen you around for a while. How's the lockdown treating you? Chaz. For the Cessna 172, I'm using gallons. I believe you can set the Airbus A320 into kilograms, but the other aircrafts are all in pounds. But in the Cessna 172, we're using gallons on the fuel. Same as the real one. I've never seen a 172 with the option for kilograms. Litres I've seen. Let's get that transponder in. set 3000 because we're inside controlled airspace. Let's go ahead and chuck in a flight plan. So I'm going to pop in YMEN. Has Essendon. I think we get MCG. Of course, I would have probably taken off without this, but you know, it's nice to have a nice little magenta line. Ooh, we don't have the Australian MCG in there. There are some VFR waypoints, but not all. It's kind of bizarre. Anyway, we're going to chuck in Sugarloaf Reservoir now. That's SGSV. Ah, damn it. NOPQRS. There we go. SGSV, and it's in the YM, which is Melbourne, of course. Head down to Lilydale. Yeah, it's there. This is of course a GNS 530, and if anyone knows how to turn those tooltips off, I'd love to know, because I don't. So YLIL, and we're going to leave that for the moment until we get to Lilydale. Come out of flight plan, we've got a magenta line. We'll zoom that out a touch. Now another thing you can't do, and you can see, you'd normally hit the page menu and drop down to third or fourth option, which would normally be track north. Can't do that. So we're stuck in north is to the top, whereas normally we track to the top. So just got to check that little aeroplane icon and see the direction it's pointing, because the map will always be north top, which is really disorientating, and I'm not used to it that way. We're in GPS for that. So given that our GPS won't go into north orientation, just not an option, I'm guessing that means I'll be a customer for Flight 1 GTN as soon as it comes out. Alright, we'll go and head out to the runway up here in Essendon. Which runway are they running today? Melbourne's got 27 for the approaches, wind 220 at 280, so we're going to be using runway 26. Parking brake comes off. It's going to lean out the mixture a little bit until it starts dropping that RPM. Right there. Come down here, make sure I've got all the lights that I want on, so the beacon is in, don't need the landing, taxi's on, pitot heat don't need it, and fuel pump will be for the takeoff. Quick squeeze of outside. All the control surfaces are working fine. Thanks to ISA pack for the rudder pedals. They're still working well. And yeah, this is completely default. First thing to do will be a downwind departure of runway 26, sorry, here into Essendon. Obviously we don't have ATC because we're not connected to Vatsim. That does destroy frames at the moment. They are working on that. Give it a couple of weeks. We should be able to go on to Vatsim after that. So it'll be a pretty slow first 2 weeks of the tour as we wait for Vatsim to come on. Outside views are really annoying to get to, and they kind of look a bit odd. But there's one outside view, and we can move around with the mouse with the either the mouse wheel or holding down the right mouse button. You can't use the hat switch to look around particularly easily. Come to a stop here. Very nice reflection off the top of the wings there. And you can't easily move this up and down, so for some reason it's not centered in, like the aircraft's really low. I'd rather have it up here, like in the middle. Once again, I suspect that people will jump onto X-Plane as soon as, what's it called? The Chase Plane. As soon as Chase Plane is released, I'll be probably going ahead and buying that, because using this view menu is horrific. You can use the hat switch, but not like that. It just does this. Look at that. That's my hat switch. Great hat switch views. No. You could use a hat switch, or you could, you know, not. Performance on the sim's doing great. Until you try to connect to Vatsim, in which case I drop down to about 10 frames a second. But yeah, at the moment I'm doing like more than 40 FPS. We'll cross over to the other side of the runway. We'll do the run up in the run up area, which I think is right here. Is it this section or the next one? I should probably have my charts out, eh? No, that's that section. Alright, the next to the left is the run-up bay. Got it set up wrong. Well, this is how I set it up. I plugged it in, the end. This is this bit of the taxiway that people have been telling me about, where it goes a little bit wonky. Okay. Well, that's a bit of a bouncy bit of the taxiway. That's not really like that in the real life. A little bit of terrain mesh data. However, that does show that the airports aren't dead flat. So I'm sure at some point we'll be landing on an airport that goes up a hill. In fact, Tyab is a little bit like that, isn't it? Slightly up a hill. Taxiways like Bangkok, yeah. Worse than Sydney roads. I should be looking at my Twitch. I'm sure that there's people on Twitch as well. If you're on Twitch, sorry I haven't been reading your chat at all. There's 3 people on Twitch. There's 62 of you guys on YouTube there, so Twitch versus YouTube. You'll get more views on Twitch. Yeah, no. I've got 3 views on Twitch. Hello Twitch people. Oh, there's 5 of you there now. Cool. Anyway, 1000 RPM. I've got the brakes going. Mixed to rich. Let's do a mag check. 1800 RPM. It's 15, 16, 17, 18. Straight to the top. That's 17. Zoom in a touch. Matty O, g'day. Let's drop one of these left. Yep. I'm not sure if this does spark plug fouling like air to air. Probably not, it's a default aircraft. Indeed, 187, New South Wales 72. I'm broadcasting both Twitch and YouTube. I think I've got a Facebook one going as well, but no one watches there. Seems to idle about 675. It's actually a better idle than the air to air, which tends to idle a bit too low, like sub 600. This one runs a little bit higher than 600, so it's possibly a little bit peaky, but I'd rather peaky than, you know, the other. Okay, let's have a look at our compass. We have a heading of 170, which bears absolutely no relation to what we have on the actual thing, because we flipped our aircraft around. So 170 it is. Runway 26, so there's 27, 26 is out in there somewhere. We'll do a full backwards departure. There's the horizon. For some reason I'm only getting like 10-degree increments in this. Should be smooth. It isn't smooth. Pitch trim. Now the issue with the pitch trim, it tends to go way too fast compared to what the normal pitch trim is. Like, look at that. You get the full throw of the entire trim in about 5 seconds. It's like 737 pitch trim and the max. So that's another thing we'll probably need to fix, is the speed that moves. Don't know how to do that yet. Here's a positive. That actually is the air temperature and the voltmeter. So 2 presses on that, we see 8 degrees Celsius. The EGT system works. I'll give it a general aiming point. We'll lead it out properly once we get to altitude. 1500 autopilot works, of course. Yeah, for a default aircraft, this Cessna 172 is actually top notch. Couple of things that are missing. You can't open the window. Oh well. You can't open the doors in this sim, as far as I can tell. Or if they do open, I haven't found the key command for it. It certainly isn't Shift E, which I have just pressed and nothing happens. So, how to open the doors? Maybe you don't. Let's make our way out. At some point we'll have to get rid of that button, because that's going to be my push to talk button when we're on Vatsim. And I don't want to go, I'm going to talk to Melbourne Centre. Hi Melbourne Centre, I'm looking randomly over there. Yeah, the sim will be pretty much a general aviation paradise, especially with VFR flying. Even out of the box default, it's pretty close. A couple of small little details. And of course we don't have any add-on airports yet. But look at that grass over there. This is just a simple default Essendon. Nobody flies here, nobody cares about Essendon. And let's have a look at what frequency I should be on. We're offline, so we don't need to be on any frequency, but yeah, get in the habits. Should have called them before we started taxi, but whatever. Where's the CTAF? I know it's the same as the tower. Let's grab the actual charts. Oh, that's an apron chart. Let's try with the actual, aerodrome chart, that'd be better. Tower 125.1, Melbourne approach after hours. AWS ATC. That's right. If the tower's closed, you actually contact Melbourne approach. I wonder if anyone's on Vatsim right now. Who knows? We can't be, so no point looking. Melbourne approach. What was our call sign again? It's a new one. Sierra Yankee Hotel. Sierra Yankee Hotel is ready to depart runway 26. We weren't intending to turn right. We're turning left. We're doing a full downwind departure. Yes, the Vatsim tried to launch on the first day, but it turns out that simconnect wasn't playing with vpilot very nicely, and it gives you about 2 frames a second. So yeah, you essentially can't use Vatsim on this thing yet, but give it a couple of weeks, we should be fine. So we assume that we're being given a clearance to take off with a left-hand downwind departure, climbing 1,000 feet. Mirror Dog just gave me, is that 40 yen, or I can't tell what currency that's in. Yes, we're going to fly around Coburg Tower. Melbourne Centre, Sierra Yankee Hotel, runway 26 departing left-hand downwind, and then 1 orbit of Coburg Tower. Let's go. $60. There goes the DFO. Looks like a pretty good representation of the DFO, if we're talking. Ah, Indian rupee. Cool. Tullamarine Freeway. Highway. It's not really free, is it? It's a toll road. There's good old Livery. Forgot the name of the suburb for a second there. Livery's not a huge hole. It's fun enough. Plenty of stuff to do there. Mostly restaurants. A bit of shopping. So good old Essendon. Now Rossi, you've found the Fitzroy, it's Faulkner, the new Faulkner Tower in Melbourne. Nobody knows about this because we've been in lockdown. So during the lockdown there's been a 2,000 foot tall tower that's just been built in Melbourne. It's more than 2,000 foot tall, I think it's like 3,500 feet. I do wonder how it got there, because obviously they're not physically putting buildings down. What they're essentially doing is scanning like a satellite topography map. I'm wondering if maybe there's an aircraft actually flying an approach into Essendon and it actually picked it up. That's my expectation, is that the satellite picture must have had an actual aircraft in the sky at the time, and it actually took the topography data off that aircraft that's sitting there at 3,000 feet on approach into Essendon. Permanently now in this massive 3,000 foot tall structure. So if we go around the tower, we can see here this is the cemetery up in Faulkner. There's a train station right in there, the old cemetery train station. And I can tell that it's in Faulkner. In fact, you can see the exact address because this building here that I'm circling is the St. Mark's Catholic Parish Primary School. Very distinctive, like cross-shaped building, part of a Catholic church. So the fact that I can identify the exact street address of where that tower is insane. Unfortunately the tower is still there, but here we go. This obviously is Sydney Road, with the big medium strip in the middle, and the cemetery. Everybody in Melbourne would probably know that cemetery if you've driven north out of Coburg on Sydney Road. In fact, that there is the ring road coming over. So this is the ring road, and I can fly over my own house. I'll do that. So there's the ring road. We're flying over Broad Meadows now, roughly. Need to get some of my orientation. Oh, there's our own shadow blasting along the ground there. My nearest park is next to this lake up here. That's Melbourne runway 27 over there, which is lucky that we're not on Vatsim, otherwise I'm flying into space where I shouldn't be. Yeah, that's the park. So this is my street. There's the vacant lot next to my house, which used to be a primary school, and there's the skate park or the bike park just behind my house. my house is that one there that my mouse was over. This one, that's my house. I visually identified my own house. Which means I'm roughly on course for a landing on Essendon. There we go. Runway 17. Bit too high. So yeah, my house. That there is Jakarta train station right here, over the top of the ring road. That's the railway station that I'd normally catch a train from. If I was going into the city, which I haven't done since March, because of COVID. Don't show people where I live. Fair enough. Indeed. Start pulling up some new parts for your computer and get on this pretty quick. So we're now looking down at, I'm guessing that's the Tullamarine again. Melbourne City itself. As I said, complete default out of the box, and we can see Fitzroy Gardens. Let's find Flemington Racecourse. Visually spotted. So Flemington Racecourse straight ahead. There it is. And the showgrounds just beyond it. You can identify every street that goes across Tullamarine Freeway. Want to look for a specific building? It's there. Some of the height of the buildings aren't exactly correct, so although it's a perfect representation of the satellite view, you may find the size of buildings don't represent what they are in real world. You'll probably notice that more as we get to the tall buildings in the inner city. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm suspecting the Docklands Ferris wheel is going to be looking very strange, but it might be there, who knows. Oh, Flemington? Is that Flemo? Or is it the other one? Nah, Flemington's on that side, isn't it? That might be Mooney Ponds. Mooney Ponds isn't even in P3D, even with Orbx. It's simply not there. That's Flemington. And the showground's just to the north of Flemington. And you got the train line that comes into it from there. Keep randomly climbing because I'm looking out the side of the window. I wouldn't fly at night for the very first flight in the new sim, otherwise it'd be like, look at all the black outside the black window that's black, because it's night time and you can't see anything. Just imagine you can see all the stuff you can't see. Nah, that's not what we're doing. That's not what we're here for. We're here to see stuff. Is it possible to fly night VFR in this sim? Probably. We might do it again. No, I'm not a real life airline pilot. I'm a real life pilot of these things. I can fly a C172. So we can do that. Is Luna Park modelled? That's a good question. Probably not, but we'll go and have a look. It'll probably be pretty flat, which is to say that the face won't be there, but the park itself would probably identify a few roller coasters and stuff. There's the railway lines going up to the Docklands over there. I can see that the Docklands Stadium looks a bit flat. Let's head down over downtown. Yeah, Williamstown's not too bad. It's like I'm getting caught up in some cloud here. Westgate Bridge. Another bridge that looks depressing is Sydney Harbour Bridge, which is dead flat. Oh, is that Westgate? Great. The chimneys are there. Look at that. $70 degrees. It's a little toasty, but it's not too bad. Westgate Freeway. Yeah, the Westgate Bridge is a bit flat. Once again, a big archy bridge. That should be an arch, not a flat thing. That seems to be the common theme with the bridges. How's our pink lake? Not very pink. It's very blue. And I'd say the same with the Yarra River as well. Not very brown. It's kind of too blue. On Vatsim right now we do have a Melbourne Centre online, but we can't connect to it, so good old City Link Freeway. Docklands Stadium. It's a little bit smaller than it should be, but it's roughly the correct shape. I'll give them that. By smaller I mean not high enough, not tall. But the roof looks to be there. A lot of these city buildings don't seem to be tall enough. Especially Eureka Tower, which is this tiny little ugly thing. Marvel Stadium, yeah, that's what they call it nowadays, isn't it? Funny. Alexandra Gardens are here. Not quite as pretty as the Orbx, what's it? FTX version 2, but visible. And I can see the Hammer Hall. Flinders Street looks not too bad. You can identify the platforms and all of that stuff. St. Paul Cathedral seems to have lost its spire somehow. And we just throw the Melbourne Soviet Cricket Ground, as we've been calling it. It's pretty depressing looking Melbourne Cricket Ground. It looks like some Soviet apartment block from Russia somewhere. So, city orbit. Some good things, some things that need to be improved. Looking at UMCG. Poor old MCG. It turned into a Soviet apartment. Margaret Court Arena is completely flat on the ground. Carlton Gardens are there, along with the Melbourne Museum. Yeah, Eureka's a little bit short. Yeah, it's thicker than the real one and also shorter. So, the real one's a thinner building that's about maybe 1/3 taller. Back around over North Melbourne. Highway looks okay. We are indeed missing the old Docklands Ferris wheel. Yep, Diamond Rail Yard. Thick control. If you think that becoming an airline pilot isn't expensive, you're in for a bit of a shock. Especially in this economy right now. Aussie, what's it? Aussie Aviator asking if I'm gonna stick with FS 2020 or stick with P3D. I reckon I'll be using FS 2020 more and more, but I'm staying with P3D because, you know, at the moment we're just a default sim. We can't connect to Vatsim yet. We've got nothing but default aeroplanes, default repaints, and the default scenery looks amazing. But, you know, at some point someone's going to release some extra stuff. PMDG is going to make an airliner. FSUICP is going to give us proper controllable flight controls. Chase plane is going to give us better views outside. I'm sure Orbx is looking at releasing some scenery. I think they already have in Europe somewhere. I think Orbx has already released Innsbruck, so you've got a new Innsbruck airport even now. So yeah, we'll slowly merge over towards using this simulator more often, but it'll be a long process. It'll take a few years before we get everything in the sim that we want. I'm told that Active Sky, essentially they're starting from scratch. They've got no idea even if they can release anything for this sim. The weather control seems to be relatively okay, but there are some spots on the world that they've been saying that the weather's lagging by more than an hour, which isn't ideal, but I checked it out this afternoon when the thunderstorm came over Melbourne, and it was lagging by about maybe 15 to 20 minutes, but it's pretty accurate apart from the lag. So that lag time's about 15 minutes behind the weather, so as the storm came across Essendon, it was still sunny for about 15 minutes, and then it was stormy, and then when the storm left it was still storming for about 15 minutes after it actually left from Essendon. Because I live right next to Essendon, I can see these things. But for Melbourne, the weather was pretty spot on. Pretty spot on. We even had the rainbow come out. If you're on my Facebook page, also Musical Aviator, but if you check me out on Facebook, I put a screenshot of the rainbow coming over Essendon this afternoon, which matched the real world rainbow that was actually outside. It's like, wow, there's a rainbow in the sim, is that? Went outside, yep, there is one there too. That's pretty cool. For us, the weather, yeah, here in Essendon's been pretty much fine. That said, always up for some improvement, and if Active Sky gets something out, I'm probably going to buy it, because I've pretty much bought every Active Sky product since about Active Sky version 4 back for Flight Sim 2002 or 2004 at least. Yeah, tie-up should look reasonably good. The default airports, the runway environment tends to look really good, but the taxiways kind of don't. So, a bit of improvement required for the sides of buildings especially, which makes sense. If you know how the technology for this works, it's all based on satellites rain data, which is, of course, looking straight down. So you don't get the sides of buildings really accurately. We kind of knew that going in. Sides of buildings are going to look pretty default, and they do. Which is fine when you're flying around something like this, but when you're up close to an airport building, it's not so great. Room for improvement, and I'm sure that Orbx are willing to take our money to make it happen. Yeah, we had a bit of a thunderstorm roll through, so QNH was 1001. Now, I haven't done any flight planning to go any further south than this, but we had a request to go down towards Moorabbin. If we stick to our actual flight plan, we'd come back towards Moorabbin after doing all of Tasmania, so in a couple of months. Looks like Velvet Blue is gone forever. Good work, Mr. Toilet Spectre. $9.90 yesterday. Yeah. For those of you watching the stream, there was somebody called Velvet Blue who was asking silly questions and called us all, possibly everybody in the stream, a loser, including the people in the chat. He's no longer among us. He gone. Say hi to Steph and Rabin. Let's have a look at our entry procedures at Mervyn. Brighton. Cool. Bye bye, Velvet Blue. It was nice knowing ya. Actually, that's a lie. Chaz, g'day on what's this thing called again? Twitch. Yeah, it probably will be. That's fine. We've got 27 up and 1 down. You can see every road, as I was saying, so pretty much. I don't have any. I've like reduced the ground traffic way down. I can probably push it back up a little bit. I think I've only got it on 10% or something like that. So one thing you'll probably need to notice is be very ginger on your trim. So what I usually do nowadays is just like click, 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 click. Just little short clicks, because if you leave it in for more than half a second, you're going to get a massive nose down moment. Yeah, I did see a lot of people with issues. I suspect those might be internet connection kind of issues, or maybe hard drive related issues, but for me I started it one night and the next morning it was done. Install went pretty smooth for me. Wind is from the west, so I'd have to go downwind and come back for runway 17, I think. Yeah, Julia November's got a nice new livery. It's had it for a little while actually. Good year and a bit. Not significantly. I did pull it back a little bit, so it's not straight up what it came out on the box, but yeah, it's pretty close to what it was for the honeycomb yoke. So I just essentially just plugged it in, moved the sensitivity down a little bit, but yeah, it's pretty good now. That said, I did have it unplugged this afternoon, so it might have changed since then. Haven't checked. Yeah, I don't even know how long it took for me to download it. I went to bed one night at about 11 PM, and when I wake up the next morning at 6 in the morning, it was done. So it took less than 7 hours. Actually, I didn't even check it until about 7 AM. But yeah, came in at 7 AM, it's like, yep, that's finished. Cool. Love how we're just flying around with no procedures right now. None at all. Is that Southgate? I'd imagine it is. And Moorabbin traffic. Yeah, I was imagining it'll be good on the trim wheel. There is AI traffic and there's multiplayer traffic as well, internally. Which I think I've turned off both of those. I didn't want to deal with that. Southland. Cool, thanks for that. Southgate's the one just opposite the Yarra River, isn't it? Near Flinders Street. One's gate, one's land. So the one down here is a land. Beaches look pretty nice. For Melbourne beaches. Which aren't particularly good. You're looking for Morse code. Yeah, we can do that once we get on the ground here at Moorabbin. We'll look up an NDB that exists. There's not many of them left. Or even the Melbourne VOR, and have a check on that when we get airborne again. We're doing nothing like a proper circuit, so whatever. Let's drop into the white arc, drop some flaps. Moorabbin traffic. Whatever my call sign was, which I've forgotten already. This is not an aircraft that I normally fly. Sierra Yankee Hotel. Base. I'll do runway left. All the flaps, none of the throttle, mixed to rich, brakes are released, undercarriage is fixed, pump is on, lights are on. Yeah, the minute we get FSU IPC, I'll definitely be buying that so that we can properly manage our sensitivities and controls and stuff. And as we swap between aircraft, you can have different profiles. So like just a single throttle on the Cessna 172, 4 throttles with the 747, 2 throttles and 2 mixtures for the King Air. Do something about those trees that are massive. Surprising some of the airports that are being registered as airports in the scenery. Bathurst Harbour Melaleuca Lagoon is there. So is the other Queenstown in Tasmania. There's actually 2 Queenstowns in Tasmania. There's the one up north near Strahan, and there's one further south, halfway between Strahan and Melaleuca Lagoon. Yeah, that's a bit random. Can't wait for Orbx to bring their expertise to Moorabbin. A straight up port of their other airport. Dump it into here. I'd buy that. Well, the refueling area is not here. Oh yeah, that's alright, there's a Bonanza. No, we're just going to stick to the 172 today. Might pull out a different aircraft for another stream on the weekend or on Tuesday or something. Will Orbx be at full price again? I'm sure it will be. They're here to make money and not friends. Oh, is that where they put the fuel bowser over there? That's a weird place to put it. Should be where we went in. Insane place to put it. Sunbury Airport. Yeah, that's a place I've not been to. I'm sure it'll be physically like in the scenery. It may not have a spawn point, and the runway might not be, you know, paved properly, but at least you'll have a satellite image of it. Trees are a bit big. Oh, can you move that? No, you can't. Okay. Some big grass field with a windsock near it. Oh, Aaron, how you doing? I think it's time to go to Lily Dale. Okay, pumps are on, all those lights are in. Rabbit traffic. Suriaki Hotel entering one way left. We have to do a left-hand circuit and then leave. Yeah, Taxi Alpha is a bounty like it is in the real world. I've been up that taxiway a few times. Mixed rich. 3-5 left. Didn't have the trim set at all, but there we go. We were looking for the golf course, saying it was hard to spot. It's because of the trees. The trees are too large. Need to get a tree shortening add-on. Make trees half the size. That's it, there's lots of trees. Wonder if Bacchus Marsh Airfield will be there. That's one that I'm interested in. Ronald, say hello. Alrighty. Let's jump out of here. And we'll head directly north towards Lilydale. Just roll up to the heading that I think it should be at. A little bit east of north. Dandenongs out in there. Improving the current stock of fields would be good. You don't have to make new ones. It's like, oh, that Moorabbin's cool, except, you know, the buildings don't look anything like they really look, and the fuel bowsers are in the wrong place. The airport fence, and little details like that. So we want a magenta line. Gonna hit the direct to button. No? How about flight plan? Ah, there we go. Click on the cursor. Move it up to there and then hit the direct to. There we go. Activate, go. Done. Cool. Eastern Freeway as we cross it. Is that Eastern? No. Or is it Monash? Yeah, it might be Monash. Too early for the Eastern. Ah, there we go. That's Princess Highway, so that's Monash. And the arrow right next to it. Yeah, someone on Twitch is asking if I'm a real pilot, and well, I'm not currently endorsed, but back in 2003 I did my first solo in a Cessna 172, much like this one, except it didn't have the GPS at the top, it only had a little one at the bottom. That's a GNS 430 So I had two aircraft that I used to fly quite a lot. One was Baz Air's Mike Hotel Golf, which doesn't exist anymore because it was decommissioned. But back in those days it had almost nothing, just radio panels. And we also flew a Cessna Charlie Lima Sierra, which had a GNS 430 in it. And unfortunately that one crashed in 2006. Someone ran it off the end of the runway and crashed into a car at Bankstown. Since then I've also done a trial introductory flight with my instructor friend. When was that? 2014 in Piper Archer. Someone can see Ringwood coming up. Sorry, I don't know my eastern suburbs particularly well, but I can see a train line there. Can someone tell me what train station that is? Yeah, Charlie Lima Sierra hit some random car at the end of a runway at Bankstown. I wasn't with Baz Air anymore after that. I'd already moved to Melbourne. But yeah, that was a bit of a shock when I heard about that. It's like, you know that favourite plane of yours, Charlie Lima Sierra? Yep, it just crashed. Oh, where? At the end of the runway, into a car, at like taxi speed. Like what? Yeah, it wasn't a particularly big crash, but it did write the aircraft off. I think it broke a wing spar or something like that. Nunawading train station, thanks for that. I know people that live in Nunawading. That would be our freeway that I was looking for before. We'll turn around the other direction to get to it. Played that footy ground before, good stuff. Yeah, Spencer over here on YouTube is my East man. He's the guy that flies out of Lilydale, which is where we'll be heading next. Yeah, I don't often come out this part of town. There was a time I lived at Monash University on campus down there. So, but I didn't have a car really at that time, so I didn't really get out much. Used to have a teacher at Vermont, and I think I went out to, oh, what was that place? Hi there. Yeah, I hope to visit as much of the world as possible in the sim. Might not happen very soon, but you know. Yeah, we'll see. Chuck in a Kenya request. Albert S, which hall? I was at Mannix College, across the road. 2 years. Good times. Back in 2006, 2007. You East Melbourne boys might know what we're looking at. More railway. Oh, there's a train in the image. Look at that. 2 trains in the image, I think. Or maybe a train and a... That was funny. Actually being able to see those train lines is pretty intense. Albert a bit older than me, that's alright. Is that a big quarry up there? Massive hole? Just saw it out the window. That thing there. That look, yeah. Massive hole in the ground. Good stuff. Ah, the Eastland Complex. What about Wanturna? I went to just across the roads of Wanturna to a little restaurant called Food Star. Don't know why we went there, we just happened to be in the area and went, oh, let's go here. It was like a cheap knockoff of Sizzler, which itself is a cheap knockoff of something else. A cheap knockoff of a cheap knockoff. That Serpentine? I think it is. So a little bit too far south of where I wanted to be, but whatever. Brickworks, that'll probably be it, yeah. I like that. It's kind of like a... Definitely not a grid. Montrose Quarry, thanks for that. Those clouds that touch on the mountains up there. Is that Sugarloaf over there? I think it is. Let's compare the shape. Might be Yanyan. No, we're not that far north. So we're around Wonga Park, I think, aren't we? Oh, the ARBs, how you doing? Or ARBZ13. Snow on Mount Hotham in the new sim? Probably. We'll be visiting Tasmania at some point in the next couple of weeks, so I'm sure there'll be some snow hanging around down there, especially right now. They're talking about snow down to, I think it was 500 meters altitude over the weekend. It's got to be a bit cold. Monday's got an estimated temperature of 3 degrees in Melbourne, so I imagine it's going to be down in Tassie on top of Cradle Mountain or something. Yep, Yanyan and Sugarloaf are very easy to... Well, it's a big massive lake, so you go, oh, that's where we're at. No, that's not where we're at. Almost on top. I'm on top of Coldstream. I've spotted our airport. that's where we're going. So it's directly north-south. If we use runway 36, we are going to be on the dead side now. Snow in Colac. My golly. If only we could go to somewhere interesting, like more than 5 kilometers from our house. Then it'd be interesting. Last time I went out with the lady friend, when was that? November last year? December last year? No, it's got to be winter. Last winter, I guess. Winter 2019. Time has stopped meaning things in COVID. Anyway, girlfriend of mine was doing a performance up in Mount Macedon, so he drove up there, and it snowed the first night. It's like, go up and watch your opening show, and then go up and watch your opening show when it snowed. Okay. What at Mount Macedon when it's snowing? So then I'll go back to P3D for the big planes until we get some big planes in this sim, because the ones that come with it default are pretty trash. But we expected that anyway. This plane's nice. I like the Cessna. Very nice Cessna. Just two things that I'd change on this Cessna, and that is being able to orient the GPS to up. So essentially means we probably need a completely new GPS built by Flight 1. And the second thing I'll do is openable windows and doors. But yeah, we'll go to the P3D when we need an Airbus or a 737. Oh, the plane flies fine. It's a little bit touchy on the trim control, so that's a down. That's about right. Possibly a little, not enough after momentum at the end, because if you do this in a real Cessna, it tends to, you get this kind of shh as it. I might do it if we chuck some rudder in. No, not really. Hear a little bit of like the air change around. Oh, I've lost sight of my destination. We're over the top of Lilydale now, the township. No, this is Yarra Junction, isn't it? Oh, as far as, you know, navigating, that's pretty much spot on. We've got the real world here. Traffic, Lilydale. Sierra Yankee Hotel is overhead field. Well, joining downwind runway 36. I'm being really sloppy today. I'm just talking more than flying. Kind of glad we're offline, because that flying was atrocious. That circuit entry though, what? Joining downwind at 2,000 feet. Oops. Have I calibrated my heading? No. Need 1,200. As you can see, the gyroscope has shifted about maybe 10 degrees. That's normal, precession of the gyroscope. That's the altitude I want. Now to trim it out. Oxbow Lake, yep. You can basically, everything that's on the ground in the real world, you'll at least see it as a top-down satellite image. Very much so, yeah, exactly what you're saying. That's the main advantage of this simulator compared to P3D, is all the scenery out your window is satellite image exactly what you get. If you compare this to how we did P3D, yeah, chalk and cheese, man. Traffic, YLIL, Sierra Yankee Hotel, turning base, runway 36. Ten degrees fast. So Spencer, are we meant to be landing on that big yellow patch or on the green patch next to it? Left of the yellow patch. Alright, cool. I know there's a bit of a lag there between your text and me seeing it, so we'll probably be on the ground by the time we look at it, but the green patch straight ahead. I am, I can see the markers now. Do lots of people gather on that road right there? I feel like I'm just a little bit too far to the right. Loving those grass textures. Not even textures, like there's physical volume to that grass. So another question, do you guys just charge straight across the middle bit, or is there meant to be a space that you go on? Marked out taxiway of some sort. Is it up there? Anyhow, Lily down. Yeah, the grass is a bit long. Looks like someone needs to come out and mow it. Maybe that's what Orbx can do next. Get the short tree out on. Reduce trees by 50%. In height, that is. It's coming up. Darn, can't see the flaps. What's that greener patch over there? I think the grass is thicker in the green patch. We want to be on the dirtiest part of the patch. You probably won't see the United servo, but you probably will see a servo of some sort in the right place. Yarra Glen. Haven't been there for a while. That's what it looks like in the air. There's Lily Dale. So I've got a request here from Rossi to visit Yarra Glen. So I'm just going to pop out a Google Maps and see if I can find my way there. Next to the lake, isn't it? Sugarloaf. Yarra Glen's near Sugarloaf, is that right? Here it is. Oh, that's a lot closer in than I thought. There's Yarra Junction. Healesville out there. Warburton. That's right, I went out to Warburton. What's that other place called? Anyway. Yeah, I was thinking about Warburton, but that's way further out. That's across this little bit of grass. Head back out there. Ethan on Twitch wanting Glen Maggie Lake. I'll zoom in on that and see what we're looking at. That's a bit far away. We'll do that when we do the Gippsland, and we're not doing the Gippsland until we've done all of Tassie. In fact, we'll be coming back. That'll be ages away. Glen Maggie Lake. That's past like Maui. That's getting on towards East Sail. Sorry, we can't go that far in a Cessna 172 in one day. Hi Karen, you can see my, or Karan, you can see my specs in the description below. In general, it's a i7 8700 with a wood end RTX 2070, 32 gig of RAM. It's only a 2400 RAM. Wood end, hey? Where is Wood End? That's out in Macedon. Yeah, we're like literally the opposite side of town. No, I won't be doing wood end until yeah, until we come back. Toowoomba. Yeah, we will, but not like this year, probably. Toowoomba's many, many months away. Anyway, let's get airborne and we'll head on down south towards, well, firstly west towards Yarra Glen, and then we'll pop down south. Pretty much straight at, what's that, Tyab? Couple of things we need to do first. Checking. All the lights are on. That's in the middle. Flaps are up. Go flaps 10 for this takeoff because we're on grass. Shooting north. Leadell traffic, Sierra Yankee Hotel, Cessna 172, departing runway 36 left. Flaps up. 73 knots. 75 is just about perfect. Pitch up to maintain 75 knots at full power. So now we're going to fly over Yarra Glen and then we'll shoot down to Tyab. Might do a little circuit around the top of Stony Point before we head into Tyab. But we will finish the day at Tyab in about 20 minutes? Nah, 30, at least 30 minutes from now. That's directly west. Yeah, it's a bit weird flying by myself, not on Vatsim. It's not something that I often do. So I've spotted Sugarloaf. That's right, Glenn. I chose Sierra Yankee Hotel because I used to hang out at Essendon quite a bit. Basically, none of the aircraft that I am familiar with have ever had a GNS 530 in them, so I'm suspecting Sierra Yankee Hotel doesn't either. But it's an aircraft that I don't have a direct relationship with, so I can be mean about its avionics. Lachlan wanted to be Lima Sierra Papa. But you see, Lima Sierra Depart doesn't have this livery. Neither does Sierra Yankee Hotel, to be honest. So, if anybody knows an aircraft that has a livery like that, let me know. Can someone get spotter 8 and make him go away? I'll do it. Goodbye, Binod. So now we need to find Yarra Glen. I just said the word binod about 15 times over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's what we'd call spam. Sugarloaf. So where do we need to go from Sugar? Yarra Glen, to the north of Sugar. Alright, cool. Right there, I'm assuming. Okay. I've got no idea what a binod is. Does anybody want to grab that one? I'll grab that one. Thank you, moderators. We're not timing it out, we're hiding it. There you go. No, oddly. Sierra Yankee Echo. Cool. I'll look that up. Might come down in altitude a little bit. Scott Bennett. Yeah, I like the sim. It has a lot of potential. It's not quite reached its full potential yet, but I'm sure they'll milk us for more money to make that happen. Yep, that is Yarra Glen, right here. Where's our servo? I'm imagining it's on the main road, which is that one that goes across the bridge. Hi there, Scott. The aircraft is currently positioned over Yarra Glen, that town there. Victoria. Just over the railway. Is that the railway going up that way? I can see a roundabout. This one here, I'm assuming. External views are a bit annoying to use, to be honest. Kind of like everything's backwards, but whatever. Devonport, I'd imagine early next month, September. Don't quote me on that. I remember that railway line. Yeah, I've been over that once or twice. Literally only once or twice. Not 3 times. Yeah, I reckon it's probably a fake livery. But, you know, I'm sure someone will repaint it at some point. Let's face southbound. We are. Mount Dandenong is visualised. And we're on kind of the downwind of Lilydale again. Three kilometres north, yeah. Anyhow, there goes Lilydale, and we'll head on down. Hi there, Nick. Yes, frames are looking pretty good on this system. I think they're actually better, well, like, you don't get as much stutter as I do on P3D. Of course, we're not injecting Vatsim traffic into the sim either, so maybe there's that. Good stuff, Ralphie, yep. The downside is there's a 3,000 foot tower in Melbourne. The upside is you can literally pinpoint the address where it is. It's just off City Road in Fawkner. Right down the road from St Mark's Parish Primary School. Yeah, another 60-week lap of Australia. We'll get there. We'll probably be a little bit slow on the first couple of weeks, since we're not on that sim yet, on this sim. So, slow progress until we get the new connection client working. Probably should have gone the back end of, let's go the bushy end of the Dandenongs, or the city end of the Dandenongs. already on the city end, we'd have to cross over. Bajwan, I can't remember the name. Some Indian kid that was a bit of a nutcase. I suspect he's behind some of these soccer counts. Particularly the Velvet Poo one. Probably the one with my dad's name on it too. Not my actual dad. Because I know his account isn't that. It's actually not his name either. A different family member has that name. Ten times too high chimneys, funny. Everything's kind of vertically challenged in this sim a little bit. The trees are a little bit too tall. There's a 3,000 foot tall building over in Coburg, and yeah, some of the city buildings are a bit too short. But apart from that, like those are little minor details. Aussie Aircraft 98, no idea, but someone suggested the Beechcraft Baron, which looks pretty good. It's not a V-tail Baron, it is a straight tail Baron, but you know, you get what you get. Adjust course to be directly south. Shoot straight down that line. Oh yeah, the MCG is atrocious. It's hilarious actually, in its strange way. It's a bit of a meme. The old MCG, Soviet style. Autopilot tries to kill you. Let's have a look. Autopilot. There we go. We're at 3,000 feet now, so we're going to set that up. Heading mode. Let's check that heading straight ahead. Autopilot. Heading. Arm. Altitude. Somehow gained 400 feet there at random. Vertical speed 0, altitude 3,000. The barrow setting thing works. Okay, there we go. That makes sense. I didn't expect that to be in there. It doesn't have an arm for some reason. You can't arm an altitude, but you can maintain one. Cool. Autopilot seems to be working fine. Let's make it turn us a little bit to the left. Alright, so the turn's a little bit sharp. Not a fan of that. Does anybody know what this lake is up ahead, and is that very close to Puffing Billy? If your autopilot's pitching up, are you maintaining a speed? The only time that the autopilot of a Cessna 172 tends to pitch up like that is when you pull the power back, because it's trying to maintain altitude, and it will ignore stalling the aircraft. It'll stall the aircraft rather than lose altitude, which of course makes it lose altitude, but you know, autopilots are dumb. Bit of sightseeing. I believe that's Cardinia over there. Off on the horizon. Listerfield, good stuff. Yeah, Cardinia is that thing over there. Huge lake. Where does Puffing Billy run? It's pretty close to this area. I'm wondering if that's that little station that they have there. Right on that lake there. I don't know this area well enough to really know one way or the other, but you know. Let's get under this cloud. Pilot's off. Yeah, it's up on the mountain, isn't it? Fair enough. We're too far south of Puffing. Instead we have that big old Monash freeway heading out towards Pakenham. Becomes the Gippsland Highway eventually. Good old Narre Warren. Yes, we are indeed heading that way. Kangaroo. Zero. Ah, you're a Narre Warren kid. Cool. We used to have a girl at work that lived at Narre Warren, and we used to call her the country bumpkin. Yeah, I saw that at RD. Good old PewDiePie. You're right about that. Scenery just looks amazing. Look at all these houses and streets and everything. We'll get to Devonport, give it 3 weeks. Devonport is in fact one of the earliest destinations in Tassie that we have. Apart from obviously Flinders Island. After Flinders Island we're heading to Devonport via probably Georgetown. That's right, Albert. Great base sim. And there'll be plenty of add-on makers willing to take our money to make more stuff. Snowy Cat? No problems. I had a very easy installation. After I purchased it, I did pre-purchase a few days out. On the day I just opened up the old Microsoft store, said, hi, let's install this. Typed in a few things and it said, alright, I'm starting to download this, what was it, 95 gigabytes of data. See you in a few hours. And it installed and I woke up the next morning, it was there. Yeah, for me, I've had real life experience with the 172. 25 logged hours plus a couple of other hours. That might not be logged. Anyhow, yeah, the aircraft behaves reasonably well. It's pretty stable to fly. It doesn't, it tends to stop motion a little bit too quickly for my liking. I'm sure air-to-air will give us a better rendition of that at some point, but in general it feels about right, apart from the fact that it doesn't continue turning after you go neutral stick, which is to say it's a little bit too responsive, but that's alright. Pitch is a little way too responsive. But I'm sure we can tone down the what we call those control sensitivities at some point. The pitch trim is probably right for the amount of wheel motion, but the wheel motion when you start holding it down just goes nuts. You can't physically move the wheel that fast in the real plane. But apart from control sensitivities, the airplane flies fine. It's great. I've got just below the recommended system. I think my, yeah, they're recommending a RTX 2080, and I've got an RTX 2070. But apart from the graphics card, I'm pretty much on their recommended specs. And the graphics card is handling it fine for the moment. Clearly we're getting, if I wanted it, 60 frames a second. I've actually pulled it down to 40. GPU load is sitting at, let's have a look at it. There it is at 81%. CPU is sitting at about 80%. Memory is pretty good with the 32 gigs of RAM, only using about 17 of that. Clearly the internet's pulling down about 10 megabit per second at the moment to keep up. Yeah, it's not too bad. No, I'm one of those lazy boys that went out and bought a system, although it was customed to my specifications. It's just the actual construction of it. Me using my hands, yeah, no, that's not gonna work. I would break something. When your components are like $800, you don't want to break stuff. So yeah, for VFR, every landmark's here. Very easy to spot things. I do have reason to believe that the actual data that is being pulled into the sim is a little bit old. We did notice that the new airport up in Istanbul isn't there, and that airport opened in 2019. Actually opened late 2018. So clearly the data that we have is earlier than 2018 in some parts of the world. Not sure about Melbourne though. But in general it seems to be flying pretty well. Trimmed out, the aircraft handles well. I'm not touching the controls right now. We don't have the autopilot on, it's just flying straight and level on its own. Got a nice little static equilibrium there. It is a little bit of motion up and down, but that's pretty normal for an aircraft of this type. Yeah, that's true. Toilet inspector. Ask the shop to buy it. If they break it, it's their problem until it becomes mine. Once it lands in my hands, then it becomes my problem. Yeah, out of the box for a Cessna 172 simulator, it is brilliant. As I said, those tiny little niggles, like the fact that you can't reorient the GPS system to track up, which is the way that I like to fly it. The odd random building that's far too high. Yep, I'm using the real-time weather. I actually had the aircraft on the ground at Essendon while a real-life thunderstorm came through, and I think it was about 15 to 20 minutes behind real world, but, you know, good enough for the sim. I doubt you'll find anything that is wildly out. Maybe in some parts of the world where they don't have very good weather data. Ah, we've just flown past where we need to be. Let's head down to Stony Point, because we can. So that's Long Point, that's Sandstone Island, and Stony Point is the big point right there. So for those of you from Melbourne, or have visited Melbourne, you'll probably know Stony Point as the weird little bit that juts out from the Frankston line. So you take the Frankston line, which is electric trains, metro trains, all the way to Frankston, and then you swap over to a diesel line which has no overhead pantographs, and that's usually run by a sprinter service, so you know, those little motor cars, motor carriages that run by V-Line. And once we're out of lockdown in 3 weeks, if we're allowed to, I might just go for a random look around. Why? Because if we're allowed to, we're allowed to. and I'm bored of sitting inside Melbourne and inside of a 5 kilometre radius of my house. Annoying. That's very true. The great Lord Doofus, 15 minutes in Melbourne as far as the weather is concerned is night and day. There's a difference between massive rain shower, thunder and lightning and sun, which was the case today. That's why I said it was 15 to 20 minutes out, because I was sitting in my house and the sun had just come back after the rain shower had gone past, and then in the sim it was still cloudy and raining. It's like, wonder when that'll fix itself. And then it eventually did update. It's like, alright, it's about 15 minutes late. Yeah, dry paddocks. I'd imagine they're a bit wetter now. Pretty good though. Yeah, from my estimation of the photographic imagery, I think we're looking at about 2018 maybe. So we would have been still in the drought at that point. I'm not sure about emergencies. I haven't explored that. I think there's some menus for emergencies that you have to go into the main menu for, but they're like mission things rather than actual. That said, I'm sure you can, you know, overspeed the engine if you did that. Clearly stalls. Actually, we haven't done any stalls. Well, let's go and do some of those. Make sure we're not in the aerobatics area. And we'll head north towards the Uringa Yacht Marina, and right there is the training area. And inside the training area we can do strange things like deliberately stall the aircraft, deliberately spin the aircraft, do some steep turns, all that kind of fun. We're actually in the right place for that. Who would have expected? Yeah, in the menus I saw stuff about like timed engine failures and yeah, all that kind of stuff. We are a little bit high. We're in cloud at the moment. Let's drop back down. Let's see, 2,500 feet, roughly there. I can see the marina. Remember in P3D we were flying around looking for the marina and we couldn't actually see it. I just had to figure out where it was compared to where that bay is. But I can physically see the marina, so that makes that bit easy. Just if you're wondering, that is the marina there. When we were flying in P3D, I couldn't even spot the marina. I only spotted this bay, and I said, well, I know the marina's just to the south of the bay, so... okay. Yeah, cockpit's not too bad, or the cabin, should we call it. The good old 4-seat Cessna 172. Clearly the mangrove forest down there. You can even see the mangrove root system in that section there. Look at that. It's been a while since I went swimming near a mangrove root system, but would have been single digits year old. I'll do it in French Island as the training area. Yeah, that'd be fun. But we're here in this training area now, so I'll use it. Cool, holding that position. Let's just pull the power. And maintain altitude. Simple basic straight ahead stall, no spin. Pretty simple dump of the nose there. Max power. Yeah, that's a wonderful noise. I love it. That's the perfect buzzy noise. It's one of the original stall warning indicators. It's essentially just a little clarinet reed stuck in a mouthpiece next to the wing. Yeah, the stall felt pretty good. It felt a little bit more like a Piper Archer stall than a Cessna 172 stall, but yeah, that's fine. Let's look at a spin. So to do a spin, you do the same as a stall, except you add a little bit of rudder, and that will kick one of the wings out. So instead of dumping the nose straight, it starts to rotate. Can be a bit scary, can certainly be a bit disorientating. Here we go. A little bit of rudder. Like you're trying to turn that way, and it goes opposite to the aileron. Didn't give me a full rotation. That's alright. So it's like you're trying to turn left and then the aircraft just starts spinning to the right. F&O, I can't do an F&O because I'm working, unfortunately. Kind of sucks. Would have been a nice F&O as well, by the looks of it. What was it? Houston and New Orleans. We're upside freaking down. I couldn't get a full rotation there. Gave me half one. Need to climb up to 2,500 again. Doing a spin at 1,500 is not a good idea. Maximum power, looking for about 65 knots. A full flap stall? That's a bit intense. What about a full power stall? How's that for an angle of attack? Yeah, there we go. Nice rotation there. Got a bit too nose down, but whatever. Yep, it's the real weather. As I said, the weather's about maybe 20 minutes behind the real weather, but it is selected as real weather and it's pulling out data from METARs and stuff. What a spiral dive in the spin, but whatever. Cool, we'll climb up to 2,000 feet and we'll do a steep turn. William Roof with his 4 pounds. Good old British pounds. Yeah, rip the spar. We didn't overspeed, that's alright. We did have to pull down an idle power to do it. There's 2,000. Alright, we're facing west. Quick squeeze out that side, looking good. Yep. Let's roll it around. Full 60 and a bit back pressure to hold the altitude. Coming up. The diamond's exciting, yeah. The 172 is docile as heck. And I recognise that from when I did flying as well, back in the early 2000s. Yeah, the honeycomb's a much better yoke than the CH, because you can do that. Full 90 degree. It's a little bit stiffer in the back and forward axis, but spin a Bristol. Cool, we'll kind of point ourselves north for the moment, 2000 and a bit. Yeah, we'll stay here, 1900. Trim the aircraft out. I do want to listen to the TYAB ATIS before I go in. A whiz, I mean. Cool, TYAB. One. Ah, this doesn't have one, does it? Dang. And Taraden's got the one that goes to the shop. There's a misprint on the phone number on Taraden. Just so you're aware. Anyhow, we need to go back. Let's do that now. Should have filled the tanks. We're in about half tanks. CTAF. One, 2, 8, 0. Okay, heading south again. Traffic TYAB, Sierra Yankee Hotel, Cessna 172 at 1,500 feet to the north of the field. We are joining downwind of runway 36. Runways in sight. Directly south. Traffic TYAB, Sierra Yankee Hotel is downwind runway 36. Okay, brakes are released, undercarriage is fixed, mixture is rich. Pump is on, lights are on, seats and harnesses are secure. Instruments also set 1001. All circuits east. Dang, did we do that? You might be right about that, eh? Flight procedures. Pass a reminder that approach to 17. Right hands. Yep. Mirror 35. Yeah, they have all those airport noise nuts over here, don't they? So I've just annoyed all of the anti-noise people. Oh, I won't have any things showing my landing rate, I'm afraid. System doesn't have that yet. Flaps. Bit of the older overshoots. Yeah, the trees are a little bit high. That's been identified. I reckon that'll be Orbx's first Australian project. Tree height. Make every tree tiny. Type traffic, Sierra Yankee Hotel, final runway 35. I was misidentifying that bit of darker grass as the runway. Flaps. You can see that the runway goes up the hill slightly, as does the real one. So airports are no longer flat like they used to be in P3D. At least the ones with AFCADs that worked. Alright, we'll park it here. Park and brake is set. Switches work. 1000 RPM. Yeah, so it was rather a sharp turn on the ground there. Anyway, as I said, we can't open the doors. Best we can do is go into the camera system, go to showcase, and we essentially have a little drone which we can fly around. Yeah, some of the rivers aren't flat. I did notice that with the Yarra River as also. Some parts of it are going up a hill. And then back down the other side. Yeah, that's right. Clearly this is a default as they come airport. No one's making TYAB. So, default sim. Looks pretty good. Anyway, I think we'll call that a night for now. Sierra Yankee Hotel, the old Cessna 172 down to Tyab, and next time we do fly might be probably next week. I'm thinking next Wednesday is a good time. We will go ahead and take a different aircraft. I'm thinking the Bonanza at this point. I do have the Deluxe version, so we can use all the aircraft that exist. Hello. Can we fly inside? Yes, yes we can. Anyway, we'll leave those guys to it. That has been a nice introduction to the new flight simulator on this channel. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys next time. Next time might be a P3D flight on Milk Run Monday or Sunday, but yeah, cancelling SAR. We'll call them on the phone, and bye for now. Thanks for watching.